When an important person in Viking society died, burial was not always simply placing the body in a grave. In some cases, the ship itself became part of the burial ceremony. It was believed that the ship would help the deceased on their journey to the afterlife, or that it represented their status, wealth, and power in life. However, burial rituals varied greatly between regions and periods, and not all Vikings were buried in ships. The ship was hauled ashore, and the deceased was placed inside, sometimes buried within the vessel or covered with layers of earth to form a burial mound. Personal belongings such as weapons, jewelry, tools, food, and sometimes animals might be placed with the body. In some burials, the ship was cremated, while others were left buried without cremation. Burying ships was an expensive ritual and was therefore associated especially with high-status individuals, such as leaders or members of the elite. The size of the ship and the quantity of items buried with it reflected the person's status and wealth. However, there was no single rule that applied to all Vikings. Scandinavian societies used various burial methods, from simple graves to cremation and internment. One of the most famous examples is the Oseberg, discovered in Norway in 1904. Its burial dates back to the early 9th century, and it contained the remains of two women along with a large quantity of tools and objects. There is also the Gokstad, in which an adult male was found buried, along with weapons, equipment, and other items. These discoveries are very important because they preserved parts of wooden ships that might have been completely lost were it not for the circumstances of the burial. The Vikings did not always bury their ships. Burying ships was a special ritual and not the common practice. In some burials, animals such as horses and dogs were found, perhaps as part of the funeral rites or related to the status of the deceased. The Oseberg is not just a simple burial boat, it was a real naval vessel, but too small to be a large warship and is believed to have been used for coastal voyages. Some funerary ships were covered with a huge earthen mound, so the burial site remained hidden for centuries. Most importantly, archaeologists cannot know the precise religious meaning of each ritual. Many interpretations of the deceased's journey to the afterlife are inferences based on archaeological evidence and Scandinavian sources, not established facts.